Hey guys, haul video time. This is kind of a continuation of my series of my quest for Jack Kirby related DC comics, sort of mostly the post New World, Fourth World comics. I have gotten most of them already, but there were a few that I hadn't gotten yet, and I got a few more from Midtown Comics. Those of you who've watched a lot of my videos may remember me doing hauls with these before. So there's Orion number 12, which is the Walt Simonson series. So I have almost all of them now. Orion number 12 and Orion number 13. And the only one I'm missing is the final issue, which is a double-sized issue, Orion number 25. And no, I can't find anyone who has it. Not any of my local comic shops, not Mile High Comics, not Nucadia, not what's the other one called? Anyway, all the ones I could think of to check, not my comic book shop. It seems to be nowhere. So I feel a little stymied there because I'm eager to start reading these series. And then I got the John Byrne series, which was called Jack Kirby's Fourth World. I got issue number 1 and issue number 5, issue 16. These all have covers by Walt Simonson, actually, even though they're by John Byrne. And I'm not sure what this is, but I saw it there, and it was only a few dollars, so I grabbed it. Or like $1.50 or $1. Jack Kirby Fourth World Gallery. So I don't know what that's supposed to be exactly. Hopefully I will figure it out. So there's that. So on those Fourth World ones, I also only have just a few more of those that I need. Let's see, where's my list? I still need 3 more issues, 17, 19, and 20. So once I find those. And so then while I was on a Kirby kick, I noticed the Demon was offered very cheaply. This is the John Byrne series of the Demon. And I had issues 7 through 15 or whatever its last issue was when it was canceled. So I thought I'd get the earlier issues. I think when I read it back when it first came out, I enjoyed it quite a bit. So it'll be fun to read the whole run at once. And somehow I got 2 copies. It'll be interesting, I guess. I didn't mean to do this, but to compare the very fine to the fine and see whether I can notice the difference. So that was Demon 1, Demon 2, and this was John Byrne writing and doing the art. Demon 3. They seem to often give the Jack Kirby stuff to writer-artists, probably people who are dying to do Jack Kirby, even though it probably won't sell well. So Demon number 4. Demon, along with Commandy and the Fourth World, is also a favorite of mine from Kirby's days of doing it. And I have a lot of the old Demon issues, although I'd like to pursue more of them. 5, I bring in some of the heroes, and then Demon number 6. And so added that to the ones I already have. I have a complete run of John Byrne's Demon for what that's worth. People don't think it's worth very much. You can get these very cheaply, but I get a lot of pleasure out of owning them. So, and then I have to look. I haven't checked lately which non-Jack Kirby Commandees I own, because after he left, they continued the Commandy series, I think, for 10 or 15 or 20 issues before they stopped. So this is later on, and I just heard people mentioning that they connect Commandy to OMAC, so I thought I'll grab that issue. It only cost me $1 or so. And then, speaking of Commandy, I had the first 4 issues previously of the Elseworlds Commandy at Earth's End. I've heard it's not very good, and since the Elseworlds is not really connected directly to the Commandy continuity, such as that might be. But I thought I'd finish my run on that, and that was a 6-issue run, so I just needed 2 issues there. And another one that I had a just slightly incomplete run on was this Cosmic Odyssey by Jim Starlin and Mike Mignola. I had the first 3 books, and this is book 4, and I believe it's the last book. And it involves DC heroes along with a lot of the New Gods, Fourth World stuff. And Jim Starlin is kind of someone who picked up on the cosmic stuff of Jack Kirby and really ran with it, and became one of my favorite author artists, especially in the 70s and 80s. So with that in mind, I also got a haul from Nucadia, which is all or almost all Jim Starlin. He had a series which I'd loved called Dreadstar, and I once owned all these and lost them over the years or gave them away over the years. And I saw that there's a new trade coming out that contains the first 12 issues of Dreadstar. And at places like In Stock Trades, you can get it for about $20. So I almost did that. And I thought, wait a minute, let me see what I can get the single issues for. Because that's still the ideal way to read things. And I was able to get them from Nucadia, and it probably averaged me about 95 cents an issue. So 12 issues, the first 12 issues cost me less than $12, rather than the $20 for the trade. Although the trade would be very good. I recommend that to anyone who likes to read things in trades. So, except that I failed to get issue 9, so I have to dig that up. So in the end, I got 22 issues, because it was so cheap, and I just kept going till I thought I better stop spending. So there's Dreadstar number 1. It's kind of like a very cosmic, super twisted religion meets Star Wars meets all kinds of other... if you like the Thanos kind of books, you'll love this. A whole pile of comics just slid over, all in bags and boards. So I also just recently saw a really good interview with Jim Starlin on YouTube, and I'm going to put the connection down below. He seems pretty disgruntled with mainstream comic book industry, particularly their editorial practices, and talks about how although the art's gotten better, he feels the writing has gotten worse because of the editorial practices that everyone has to write towards the big events and towards the complex continuity and who controls what characters and that kind of thing. So it's interesting to listen to him talk about it. Although on the other hand, he says he doesn't really read comic books now, so he may not fully know what he's talking about. But he certainly has many years in comics experience, and he's produced some classics. I always felt that he was one of the people in the late 70s really pushing the limits of superhero comics. And he was kind of a little bit of a superstar, I think, back before Frank Miller and Alan Moore became superstars. He was the first person to do a graphic novel for Marvel. Might have been one of the very early graphic novels total, called The Death of Captain Marvel. And he did early creator-owned stuff, such as this Dreadstar. For several different comic book companies, I think Dreadstar moved around. And eventually he stopped drawing it himself, and then after a while he also stopped writing it, and I think Peter David took over. And I have a lot of those Peter David issues, but haven't read them yet. So in my fantasies of having a lot of time, I will read all of the Dreadstar run someday. I'll probably get started on these Jim Starlin issues, rereading them pretty soon. They were quite intense in my memory, and pretty hardcore science fiction. I'd say that for whatever, Nucadia delivers comic books faster, and I think for a slightly better price, especially when you take into account the postage, and they give you more and more % off the more money you spend. So I think I was getting 20% off on these, so that was pretty sweet. well, especially when their list prices were things like $1.15 or something in the first place. But they do have this habit of putting this sticker on the back of the bag. So once you open it up, it kind of ruins the bag, and you probably need to put a new bag on your comic. And Midtown Comics, the nice thing is theirs came in bags that haven't even been sealed yet, and I like that. But they took a lot longer, and I think they cost a bit more given the grade level of the comic book of fine or not fine. So, and I also find searching for comics on Nucadia more pleasant. So I'll probably continue to use both, but I like Nucadia a little better, I think. And since I needed one more comic I end my run here so far on Dreadstar 23, and I'm just missing Dreadstar number 9. So I saw actually they have that on Midtown, so maybe I'll go back to Midtown when I have some other ones I want to get. And coming up, after I've collected the other things that I want to collect, another sort of cheap, forgotten gem, I think this is of the 80s, or maybe it's the 90s, or maybe both, is Arak, Son of Thunder. He's sort of a Conan-ish character done for DC by Roy Thomas. He's an Indian who ended up getting adopted by Vikings, and he ends up traveling all around Europe, but a Europe that's full of sorcery. So Europe in the very early medieval ages. And in my memory, this was a lot of fun, and I used to own a lot of these and don't have them, and I'm probably, so this is going to be my next collecting project after I finish up the DC Jack Kirby stuff. Then I'll try and finish up Dreadstar, and then I think I'll go on to Arak, Son of Thunder. So it's fun for me to collect these cheap ones that no one or very few other people want except for me. But there's other more expensive stuff I'd like to get, like more Commandees, more Silver Age Avengers, and some other stuff. So, and then Nucadia also always sends you free comics, and you can pick out from a small number of comics. You get more free comics the more you order. But I just did the thing where I said, pick one for me, and I think I got something better than I would have if I picked from the terrible free comics they were offering. So I got this Grant Morrison Clarion for free. I think I may have read that in the trade at some point. And then most people wouldn't be too thrilled by Little Archie, but I am, because maybe my daughter will like it. Maybe not, but it's worth a try. So I will be reviewing comics soon, so stay tuned.